तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोकिर्भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna.
Recording in progress.
Dear devotees, you are welcome for continuity of our Bhakti VIHE study, Canto 6, Chapter 2. We are in this section. The verses 45 to 49, Sukdev Goswami glorifies the holy name. So, till yesterday, we have seen the Ajamil was by the association of Vaishnavas, Vishnu Dutas, he was repenting for his sinful life, and then immediately he has a firm determination and he with full detachment proceeded towards Haridwar, and one is staying in a Vishnu temple and practicing bhakti yoga. And then and again he saw the four same Vishnu's order carrier, and then on a aeroplane swiftly he is taken back to the spiritual world. So Srila Prabhupada's comment about the aeroplane, anybody remember Srila Prabhupada's comment about the spiritual aeroplane? Yes? Anybody?
That it works better than the rockets of the materialists.
He compared the material, say matter as a mind as a matter, which can go so swiftly from one to other place. Then how much fast will be the spiritual transport? Is it clear? Srila Prabhupada compared mind, the speed of the mind. Though the mind is a matter, so what about the spirit soul, which is more subtle than mind? So in a moment, it can go, in a fraction of moment, Prabhupada writes, the distance can be covered and he can go to the Vaikuntha Lok, though people are trying to go to the moon and they are not still able to do. Right? So now Ajamil's chapter is over. By Naam Abhas, not by pure name, but by Naam Abhas, semblance of the holy name, he got a second chance. And then he purely chanted and promoted to the spiritual world. Now Sukdev Goswami is glorifying the holy name And then the next chapter will start by the question. Parikshit Maharaj asked what happened to the Vishnu Dutas, the Yamadutas, when they went back to the Yamraj. So now the second topic we will discuss. So now we are reading the Sukdev Goswami's comment. Evam sa viplavita sarvadharma Tasyaha pati patito grahi karmana Nipatyamano niryate hattavrata Sadayo vimukto bhagavanam granam. First three lines describe the sinful nature of Ajamil and his bad characters. And the last line says, Sadayo, immediately, Vimukto, he was delivered. How? Bhagavad Nam Granan, by chanting the holy name. So what are the bad characters of the Ajamil? That is the three lines they say. Ajamil was a Brahman who because of bad association had given up all Brahmanical culture and religious principles, becoming most fallen. He stole, drank, performed other abominable acts. He even kept prostitute. Thus he was destined to be carried away to hell. Nirya means hell, by all carriers of the Yamraj, but he was immediately rescued simply by glimpse of chanting of the holy name. It's not the holy name of Narayan complete. It's a glimpse of it. Glimpse means he was not knowing the power of the name of Narayan. He simply chanted name of Narayan as this name of his son. So it's a glimpse. The Ajamil was saved by the holy name. Shila, next verse says, Na atah param karam nibandha krantanam. Na atah param, there is nothing higher than that. Na atah param, better means karam nibandha, obligation to suffer or undergo tribulation as a result of fruitive activities. Nibandha kirtanam. Mimokshatam, those who want liberation. Tirtha padanu kirtanam. Tirtha pada is the name of Supreme Lord, who is purifying. Srila Prabhupada translate Tirtha pada. More about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all the holy places stand. A Lord who is purifying like a holy place, and all holy places are at his lotus feet. That Lord, and Pada means Tirat, and Pada means his lotus feet. Anukirtanam. This is very interesting. Anu Kirtanam. Anu means continuously, Anu means following behind someone. Kirtanam means glorifying. So in one sense, Ajamil was regularly doing this type of kirtan by chanting the name of his son Narayan. Na yattaha punha karamasu sajjate mano Rajastamo bhyam kalilam tato anyatha. Most of the time people are under the influence of mode of passion and ignorance. So which is the better way than chanting the holy name for liberation? Therefore one who desires freedom from material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, form, and pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead. at whose feet all the holy places stand. Tirathpad. One cannot derive the proper benefit from other methods such as pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation in mystic yoga. Because even after following such method, one takes to fruitive activities again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base qualities of the nature, namely passion and ignorance. So, Srila Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada is giving his own personal experience which he has seen around him. It has actually been seen that even after achieving so-called perfection, many karmis, jnanis and yogis become attached to material activities again. Many so-called swamis and yogis give up material activities as a false, jagat mithya, world is false. But after some time, they nevertheless resume material activities by opening hospitals, schools, or performing other activities for the benefit of public. Sometimes they participate in politics, although still falsely declaring themselves sannyasis, member of the renounced order. So Srila Prabhupada is giving example. Even you can see around. We can see around ourselves so many people who they are sannyasis, but they have so many material activities going on simultaneously. It means their mind is still focused on material fruitive activities. So Prabhupada writes, this perfect conclusion, however, is that the perfect conclusion is that one actually desires to get out of the material world. If anybody wants to get out, he must take to the devotional service, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. This Krishna conscious movement has actually proved this. In the Western countries, many boys who were addicted to drugs and who had many other bad habits, worse than Ajamil, which they could not give up, abandon all those propensities and very seriously engage in chanting glories of the Lord as soon as they joined the Krishna conscious movement. In other words, this process is the perfect method of atonement for actions performed in Raja and Tama, passion and ignorance. And then Srila Prabhupada is quoting the verse from Bhagavatam, the verse which Srila Prabhupada actually chanted and composed a poem when he landed in America in 65. Tada rajastama bhava kama lobha jascha. As a result of passion and ignorance, one becomes increasingly lusty and greedy. But when one takes to the process of chanting and hearing, one's come to the platform of goodness and become happy. As he advances in devotional service, all his doubts are completely eradicated. Vidyate hridaya granthis chindyante sarva sankshaya. Thus the knot of his desire for fruitive activities is cut to pieces. So this is Sukdev Goswami's conclusion that comparing to the other processes, karma, jnana and yoga, chanting of holy name is more powerful, because in other processes still the mind is under the influence of mode of ignorance and passion sometime, though they are in goodness. But devotional service is beyond the three modes of material nature. Therefore, and to qualify this, when Srila Prabhupada is writing this, though these three words are not in the verse, Jnana, Karma and Yoga are not in the verse, when Prabhupada is writing this purport, this verse is also somewhere in his subconscious mind. Mukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Shakalya Shanta. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shanta. So this whole purport is more or less focus on this verse, and then in the proof why they are ashanta, agitated, why they are not peaceful, because they are under the influence of base modes, passion and ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada writes, Vidyante Hridaya Granthis. Generally, not in the heart is considered false ego, of lording it over material nature. But here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, not of this desire for fruitive activities. Here, Srila Prabhupada has explained the Vidyate, Vidyanti, Hridaya Granthi. Hridaya means heart and Granthi means knot. And this knot is of fruitive desire. False ego, I am enjoyer. And then Shayanti Sarva Sankshaya. All the doubts are like demons, they are completely cleared. And then the last word also is Karamas Kshayanti. Third word in this verse is his reaction to the actions have completely, his slate for again taking the birth because of the karma is completely clean. Three things happen. Two of the verse are here. Prabhupada's third part also. From chanting, the mind is not attached to the material action, because mind is focused on the lotus feet of Krishna. Otherwise, by atonement, the mind becomes contaminated. Kalilam. Verse number 47 and 8. Anybody has any question or comment? No question, comment?
Hare Krishna, bro. I have one question.
Yes.
Ajamani was not chanting, means it's pure consciousness, but he was out of all the offenses. So how it can be a pure chanting, Prabhu? And in this case, what is the difference between pure and Suddha? Suddha name, Prabhu. It's
Pure means free from offenses. But he was chanting the name, but not the glimpse of the name, not actually name. It is just a glimpse of the name, not the holy name itself. So it is pure chanting only because it is free from offenses. He was not chanting to nullify his sins. But what he was chanting, he was not knowing what it is. He was not aware of the power of the holy name when he was chanting the name of his son Narayan. Shuddha Nam is one in which we are free from the offense to the holy name, and also we are fully convinced that holy name is none different than Krishna. And we are chanting it to awaken the love of God. Then is Shuddha name. So he was not aware that he is chanting the name of Narayan because Narayan is God. So it is a glimpse, it is a Nam Abhas. Nam Abhas, but it is a pure because it is free from offenses. Because it was not intentionally doing it to rectify his sinful activities. That is only because therefore it is pure. Srila Prabhupada in some purport has written, if you remember, there are 3 stages of chanting name. The stage is stage of with offenses, then clearing stage, and then Shuddha Nam. So he was in a clearing stage. Because he was not doing offense, but he was not really aware that he is chanting the holy name for awakening love of God. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu, it's okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Anybody has any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes.
Regarding, was Ajamila a devotee or was he just a Smarta Brahmana?
I think we have discussed this because he was Karam Kandi Brahmana. Most of the time what he was doing, yajna and other thing, he was a Karma Kandi Brahmana. But somehow he was within the Vedic fold. He was a Brahman, having a Brahmanical culture. So, what we have read in couple purports yesterday, that Krishna as a super soul from within, considering his previous pious life, inspired him to name his youngest son Narayan. So indirectly he helped him by glimpse of holy name in the form of son Narayan. And Krishna, this is the way Krishna helps. Even we do little bit pious activities which attracts Krishna. And then this is the other thing which I think we have discussed, if we remember. Not only chanting purify us, but also attracts Krishna. Then the Bhakti Devi and the holy name, they both are person. Bhakti Devi is also personality and holy name is also a person. And when they become actually mercifully disposed to somebody, then they produce the quick results. On the other hand, big Vedic scholars, though knowing all the scripture, even chanting, but still they have the offensive mentality towards the statement of the scripture. Arthavad on the holy name. Bhakti, Devi and holy name are not merciful, therefore they don't get any result. Ajamil was, when he was chanting, he was innocently chanting. His Brahmanical culture was there. He's brought up in Brahmanical atmosphere, in a pure life. But then bad association, again the point most important is that even Brahmanical culture, recitation of Veda, doing yajna, following vows, the heart is not purified. The desire for fruitive activities is there dormant, which immediately jumped out when Ajamil saw the prostitute. So it means all these processes actually don't purify the root cause of sinful propensities. They can make us pious, but still the tendency for sense enjoyment is there. Is it okay?
Thank you. Yes, very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Today also we are less together, not 8. We are decreasing every day. Today we are 16 only. 21 to 20 to 16, 4 less. What is happening?
Maybe the end of the week.
Oh, because of the weekend. Well, holiday is a holy day for devotees. They should be more enthusiastic.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sarva my humble obeisances. Hare
Dandavat.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Patriji, Dandavat.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
We pray to Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Allah Kalar Balina Indriya Vairi Varshi Bhakti Marge Ekantak Koti Rudha. So, Balavan Indriya Gravam. So, we can see that when Smarta Brahmana he became attracted, he became so sinful. But the same happening with devotees, because I've heard Prabhupada had thousands of disciples, but when we count in present situation, we can count only like few hundred at most, whatever, very few. Others they can kind of, in Chakravyuhas, they might take them away from this movement. And what happens when devotee actually leaving the movement? Janiya Suniya, he knows, but as they say in Hindi, Vivash kar diya na Maya, she is very strong. And when devotee goes, and then after some time, after 10, 15 years, he comes back and start to practice. But when he left to Maya, he knew very well 10 offenses and everything he did, but due to some, whatever, Tattva Vibrama or weakness of the heart, somehow or other he leaves the movement and he again goes square number one. But later on he comes. What all these years when he was absent, what does it mean? It's offense, or this is aparadha, or this is sin, or it's just Krishna so merciful he can just somehow being special, like you can Raj Paribar, he can just simply take them under his own judgment. How we can consider the fall down of or deviation of Smarta Brahmana and devotee? What's the difference?
The first thing is, most of the time, in a bhav bhakti we have semblance of the bhav. Because of somebody's powerful presence, that bhav appear in our heart and we become very ecstatic for some time. So it is because of the Prabhupada's presence, some devotees, though they were not pure at heart, but they were actually in ecstasy for some time. But because after Prabhupada left, because they were not really came to the real, taste, they did not develop the real taste of the holy name. Therefore, the bad association has actually attracted them. And some devotee told Prabhupada disciples, he said Prabhupada was saying that always Maya is actually very dangerous. You have to feel the kicks of the Maya. We were too young, we were thinking, anyway, he's an old man, what he's saying is good for him. So we tried that whether really Maya is bad and the kicks of the Maya are so dangerous. So again we tried to go back to Maya, but now we have realized really what he was saying is true. So we have come back. So when in one of the reunion meeting in Bombay, after 40 years, many Prabhupada disciples who are not in the movement, they came there. And they were themselves saying that why they left and why they came back. So one thing is most important, that even if devotee goes, when he come back, You have not to train him how to put tilak, how to wear dhoti, how to do puja. So he is already like an army man. He's a retired army man. Like he come back and he can start the function right from the beginning. This is the one advantage. Second advantage is this, that the devotee will never come under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. Krishna, he does offenses when he's doing devotion. So Krishna personally punish him. He may undergo 2-3 lifetimes, no problem. But he is not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. This is the one greatest benefit for a devotee. Even if he falls, he never goes to the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. But on the other side, if he's not a devotee and he's just a smart Brahman something, he has no liking for holy name, then his fall down will have some Yamaraj jurisdiction. But jurisdiction for devotees, this is one example, I think, if you remember. Somebody who is still from our house, we call the police. But if my son who steals 5,000 rupees, I will not call police. I myself actually give him punishment. So for the devotees, if they go away from devotion, Krishna personally punish him. They are not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. This is the one benefit for the devotees who started practicing devotion. So Srila Prabhupada, there are other reasons of also Patri Prabhu. If we look the early days of the movement, it's hardly 11 years devotees were there with Prabhupada. Then some of the devotees, they took over the movement in such a way that those who were those who were really the first class leaders in Prabhupada's time, they were neglected. And the second line became more powerful. So because they were still not at the stage of free from mine and your, and free from dualities, so they felt themselves not fit to be with the society. So they may be practicing something, but they are not within the fold of this ISKCON. There are some devotees like that. They left and went to some other spiritual organization. Some went to the Gaudiya Math. So there are some different reasons also. If really we speak.
No, but I would just, I understand, thank you. And the one thing I wanted to understand, when devotee comes back and sincerely lamenting, he understands the Jani Asuni Abhisa kind of, I understand this damn stupid fellow, what we have done, why I have done this. And he really repents. He kicks off Maya, comes back, and he really restarts the practicing sincerely lamenting what he had done. Whatever, 10, 15 years later, he comes back. That 10, 15 years when he was doing all the nonsense, what will be that considered? He will be getting reaction for that in next lifetimes, or still Krishna can consider?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily like Ajamil, because he was repenting, and this is Prabhupada's 2-3 purport are very forceful, that when we have repentance, that our past life we have done so bad habits, how Krishna has saved us. So Ajamil has not to go for another life. Even Ajamil in this life went to the with all his background of bad habits, he went to Haridwar, to the Vishnu Mandir, and even Vaikunt, he went to Vaikunt. So those 15 years will become sandwich between his previous bhakti and the later bhakti because of repentance. Again, I think this one thing which I told to Ajay, same thing that what Bhakti Vinod Thakur has said, conditional and constitutional. We have our two activities. So devotional is a constitutional activity, but the conditional activity, because of conditioning, because of our surrounding, because of bad habits, because of other friends, we may sometimes do bad things. That is particularly abhichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag. So these were carried away by sometimes by the Maya. 15 years is nothing as compared to the eternity of the life. For millions of lifetime we were doing bad things. So what is 15 years is nothing. This is just a glimpse, which is nothing as compared to repentance and continuing devotion again. I think he's coming back. It means he's more realized now. Now his devotion is more serious.
Thank you. Actually, when you were saying, you reminded me one story happened to me. I was once traveling from Thailand in the flight, and I was lamenting that I'm alone, surrounded with these crazy passengers eating meat and stuff, and I was really praying to Krishna. Really, I wish association of devotees. In the flight, I was praying. So boring alone without devotees. But then I looked next to my seat. Somebody took out Japamala and started to chant. And I looked, and I found that this is Guru Kripa Das. I said, "Oh, Guru Kripa Prabhu, how come?" And we became so surprised. He became surprised, and I became surprised. So, and we were talking, and what happened? All my flight from Bangkok to Delhi, it was like 3 hours. We had Prabhupada Katha. And one day, Guru Kripa Prabhu asked me, I asked him question, what happened when devotee leaves Krishna consciousness movement? He said, I asked Srila Prabhupada about this, about Ajamila. Srila Prabhupada, Ajamila was devotee, and then he fell down, and for 80 years he was completely atheist and rascal and good and everything. And Prabhupada said, no, Ajamila was devotee. I said, but 80 years, and Prabhupada looked at him very straightforward and looked and told him, what is this 80 years anyway? What is this 80 years? Exactly what you said. What is this 15 years? Prabhupada said, what is this nonsense 80 years comparing to eternity?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Krishna can evaporate like sun. Arka, sun, he can evaporate urine and stool in 1 second if somebody is sincerely lamenting. So that Prabhupada said, I remember he told me, what is this 80 years? Thank you. That's very important.
Yeah, surely.
It's giving hope.
And he's the one, Guru Kripa was the one who has built the Vrindavan temple by his donation, and then for some time he left sannyas, and then he was in a material world for a few years. Now he's back, and now he's more seriously chanting, and when we see in Vrindavan, he's more, more determined that he's very fixed up now. They were sannyasis and great leaders of Prabhupada at that time. But for some time, because of some misadjustment with the God brothers or some other reasons, they could not continue. Okay, sorry. Yeah, anyway.
To judge them.
Sorry?
Devotees should be very careful to judge them. Like this old.
Not only adjust, but they should actually appreciate them. Not adjust, but appreciate them. If we keep, Prabhupada kept his door open for everybody. One sannyasi sent his danda from New Zealand to the America that I could not maintain my sannyas. Prabhupada said, no problem. He came to see Prabhupada in New Vrindavan. Prabhupada, tear in eyes, he said, whichever ashram you stay, but never leave us. So this compassion of a devotee shall keep devotee more fired up in devotional service. When we become more like rules and regulation, then devotees get fried, and though they want to continue, but they could not continue in a bottleneck type of management.
Actually, Prabhupada in one conversation, he said, somebody asked him, Swamiji, all your disciples fall down, sannyasis. And Prabhupada said, yes, I knew that many of them will fall down. What can be done? I have to give them sannyas for the sake of preaching. And he gave an example like an army.
Yeah.
When all officers are already dead, we need to maintain the structure of army. We need to appoint somebody as an officer. So they counting till 10, every 10th person become officer. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, step forward, officer. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, step forward, officer. So I appointed them just to maintain the structure of preaching army for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. and they accepted that fire on themselves. And actually somehow they did so much for Srila Prabhupada. So I strongly believe we also should be very careful when we judge
No,
this senior devotee.
my understanding is that we are having this whole big beautiful palace of ISKCON. All these old devotees are the foundational stones. So foundation stone is actually more important than the whole building. So we should always have more appreciation and accommodating them and really inviting them to be with us. Then Prabhupada will be pleased. Oh, Advait has a hand up.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I mean, in the early days, Srila Prabhupada's time, I wasn't there, but I had quite some association with a lot of Prabhupada disciples from 1978 onwards, and it was like a very difficult situation for most of them when Srila Prabhupada's left, because it was a one type of situation, and everyone had to fit in. And it was very tough, sociologically speaking. And everyone was different. And everyone had different aspirations for seva. Everyone had different way of doing things in Krishna consciousness. But it was just one type. And it was like a straight jacket, and not everyone could fit in that type of. So I also that experience when one of our spiritual masters fell. And it's a funny feeling, but it was a relief for many of us. Well, my second group, and many of us disciples who were living in England, it was a relief, because we were kept up like that. It was not natural. And I remember that feeling that morning. Brahmarat called us up. There was about 70, 80 brahmacharis, and said, this has happened. And it didn't create such big wave that we thought. We just carried on with our service. So there was not a very natural way of doing things. And I felt like, so a lot of disciples, early Prabhupada disciples, and maybe first generations after 77, 78, it was a difficult situation. So many of us had to find our own feet, so to call, in Krishna Bhakti. So I never look at it like any of these devotees fell down or left. I felt like they found a more comfortable position to do seva. And therefore I keep my respect and love for all of them. Yeah. That's just my 2 cents in it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Seva or service is our constitutional position. Nobody can take that away from us. Only the reason devotees leave the movement because they are not properly engaged. It's not that they are not properly cared, but it's not because they are not properly engaged. That's the main reason, actually. And you cannot take service from anybody because it is his birthright as a constitutional position of the soul. So when you stop somebody from service, Krishna is not at all pleased with that. Okay, Hare Krishna, this discussion can go on, but we have to finish our assigned verses. Verse 47 and 8. Ya etam paramam guhyam itahasam aghapam. This very confidential history. Param guhyam is most confidential, and itahasam means history. Aghapaham. Agha means sin, and apahan means destroyer of sin. Shrunya shardaya yukto, if somebody hears with faith. This is called Shruti Phal. What we are reading, Sukdev Goswami is giving Shruti Phal. Shruti Phal means benefit of hearing this Katha of Ajamil. Yascha bhaktya anukirtaya, then also with devotion if he performs the glorification of Lord. Na vai sanarakam yati, he will never go to the hell. Nekshito yam kinkarai, never he see the order carriers of Yamaraj. Yadyapi amanagho martyo Vishnu loke mahiyate. He might have done some sinful activities, but still he will go to Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha. So, amangala, yadapi, even if amangala, inauspicious martya, living entity with material body. Because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reaction. One who hears or describe it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of his having material body and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Can you see this? Even by hearing somebody will be benefited, so what about he himself chants? Indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the order of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. You now translate this in our present discussion. Patri Prabhu. Now this translation by Srila Prabhupada, you discuss in a present context what we were discussing now. We should receive respectfully, we should worship them, even if they were sinful. Can you see this?
Yes. Next text answering the question.
Yeah, so it's important, I think, for our personal application, that how we should accommodate the other devotees, senior or junior, when they do mistakes. What should be our approach? So these are very good guidelines.
And actually, it's also interesting what comes to me, my realization. These stories we are reading now happened kalpas before, different yugas. But I'm sure that Prabhupada said that the ISKCON activity is the latest chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And who knows, maybe in future Kali Yugas sometimes, it will be one chapter of ISKCON preaching, whatever miracles happens, Srila Prabhupada as Shaktyavesh avatar, whatever, because to make somebody devotee. And in future, all these great personalities will be like that only. Like we're reading about Ajangila or different devotee, Vritrasura.
Yes, at least for 10,000 years, these books of Srila Prabhupada will be the law books for the society. And who knows in the future? I used to say after 5,000 years, even from today, when people will find the Gornitai temples in different cities of Russia and Africa and Australia, and the books in their language, they will say, well, how come everywhere there was a Vedic Bhagavad Dharma? And they will come to realize that there's one person who has actually accomplished this whole. So Srila Prabhupada has actually created a new history. He has created a new history which the future historians are going to unfold. Now we don't take it really that serious, but this is a big achievement which in future will be highlighted. Mriyamano harer nama girana putropacharitam ajamilo api agad dhama kim uttah shardaya granam. Now Kemutik Nyaya. This is called Kemutik Nyaya. Even Ajamil, when chanting the name of Narayan, though not for God, for his son, when he was about to die, he got the benefit of Nam Abhas. And he got the Agada Dham. He went to the holy Dham. So what if some really with faith chant this? So this is the Kemutik Nyaya. While suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of Lord, and although the chanting was directed towards his son, Sanketyam, he nevertheless returned home, back to God. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chant the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? There's no doubt he will definitely return to Godhead. So at the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefit of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be properly able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to God without doubt. Now, this supplementary note we have discussed day before yesterday for over 1 hour. This is the purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on verse number 8 and 9. You see, Prabhupada writes on the text 9 and 10, Chakravarti Pad has given the comment, and this whole note we have discussed in our class earlier. You can read this if there is any doubt or some question we can discuss tomorrow, but I think we have discussed this, so I don't want to go back again into same. Concluding this story. Huh? Yes, Prabhu?
Any question? Sorry.
Yeah.
This is do you have this? I somehow don't have this kind of commentaries together, compiled together. Do we have this file, or you can share this?
I think
So
I
nice.
have already shared with our. I think this our Neelmani can share with you.
Well, I think I'll upload it into our group, 10 to 6 group, 4 days ago, and many of the other devotees have access to it. So if you follow that look up the history, you should be able to pull it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, now Chakravarti Thakur, concluding this story, Sukdev gives the conclusion about the glories of the name in one sentence in order to give full understanding. He chanted without faith since he was dying. What will happen if one chant with faith? Number one. Number two, he chanted while dying. What will happen if we chant while living? Number three, he chanted to indicate his son. What will happen if we chant to indicate the Lord? Number four, Ajamil was most sinful. What will happen if a sinless person chant? These are the 4 conditions. These 4 conditions are mentioned in this verse. So this is a very good analysis. There are 4 conditions in this verse, which Ajamil got the benefit, even they are negative. But if we do is positive, what is the doubt about the benefit? Right? Is okay? Now we are starting the second chapter. Chapter 3. Yamraj's instruction to his messengers. Chapter 3. Here is a small chart. When you get this chart will say the first and second verse is Parikshit Maharaj inquires about Yamraj's reaction. Verse 10 to 3 to 10 is Yamaduta's questions about the Supreme Controller. And 11 to 21, Yamraj explained the position of the Supreme Controller, devotees and Bhagavad Dharma. And the last section, 22 to 30, last but one, Yamraj glorified the process of chanting. And the last section, 31 to 35, Sukdev Goswami glorified the process of chanting. So this is the breakdown of this chapter. So here it is the chapter 3. Somebody can read this Srila Prabhupada's summary of the chapter 3. Yes, Prabhu.
As related in this chapter, the Yamadutas approached Yamaraj, who very exhaustively explained Bhagavad Dharma, the religious principle of devotional service. Yamaraj thus satisfied the Yamadutas, who had been very disappointed. Yamaraj said, although Jamin was calling for his son, he chanted the holy name of the Lord Narayan, and simply by a glimpse of the chanting of the holy name, he immediately achieved the association of Lord Vishnu's order carriers, who saved him from your attempt to arrest him. This is quite alright. It is a fact that even a chronically sinful person who chants the holy name of the Lord, although not completely without offenses, does not take another material birth. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, Ajamil had met 4 order carriers of Lord Vishnu. They were very beautiful and had quickly come to rescue him. Yamraj now described them. The Vishnu Dutas are all pure devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Person, in regard to the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation. Neither King Indra, Varuna, Shiv, Brahma, the 7 rishis, nor I myself can understand the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord, who is self-sufficient and beyond the reach of the material senses. With material senses, no one can attain enlightenment about him. The Lord, the master of the illusory energy, possesses transcendental qualities for the good fortune of everyone, and his devotees are also qualified in that way. The devotees concerned only with rescuing the fallen souls from this material world apparently take birth in different places in this material world just to save the conditioned souls. If one is somewhat interested in spiritual life, the devotees of the Lord protect him in many ways. Yamraj continued, the essence of Sanatana Dharma or eternal religion is extremely confidential. No one but the Lord himself can deliver that confidential religious system to human society. It is by the mercy of the Lord that the transcendental system of religion can be understood by his pure devotees, and specifically by the 12 Mahajans. Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, Kapil, Manu, Prahlad, Janak, Bhishma, Bali, Shukdev Goswami, and me. Other learned scholars, headed by Jaimini, are almost always covered by the illusory energy, and therefore they are more or less attracted by the flowery language of the 3 Vedas, namely Rig, Yajur, and Sam, which are called Trai. Instead of becoming pure devotees, people captivated by the flowery words of these 3 Vedas are interested in the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. They cannot understand the glories of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Intelligent persons, however, take to the devotional service of the Lord. When they chant the holy name of the Lord without offenses, they are no longer subject to my rulings. If by chance they commit some sinful act, they are protected by the holy name of the Lord, because that is where their interest lies. The 4 weapons of the Lord, especially the club and the Sudarshan Chakra, always protect the devotees. One who chants, hears, or remembers the holy name of the Lord without duplicity, or who prays or offers obeisances to the Lord, becomes perfect, whereas even a learned person may be called to hell if he is bereft of devotional service. After Yamaraj thus described the glories of the Lord and his devotees, Shukdev Goswami further explained the potency of chanting the holy name and the futility of performing Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and pious activities for atonement.
So these are the 3 lines by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur about this chapter. In the 3rd chapter, the servants of the Yamaraj, Yam relates to the Yam how the servants of the Vishnu disrespected him. Yam means Yamaraj. And Yam teaches them the astonishing power of bhakti. Though Yam was disrespected by the servants of the Vishnu and his own servants, he did not become angry, but rather repented that he had not taught his servants about Vishnu. These 4 lines of Chakravartipad as a summary of this chapter are very golden lines. Yama was disrespected by servant of Vishnu because his order was foiled. And Yama was also disrespected by his own servants. But as a Vaishnava and humble, he never become angry. Rather, he was repenting, it's my mistake. I have not taught you the right Dharma, Vishnu. When we went once for preaching in a big prison, a huge prison of Asia in Delhi, in a juvenile jail where there were 1800 under 18 boys. In my opening sentence, I said, you all are in the prison because we are responsible. If we as a parent or preacher have actually trained you properly, then you should have been in school or college or in some good work. But you are in a jail because we have forgotten our responsibility. And then they were so open to listen because we never put the, criticize them why you have done the wrong thing. We said, we have not actually given them the right instruction. That is the main thing. So now the Parikshit inquired about Yamaraj's reaction. Verse number 1, Rajo Vacha. Nishmaya Deva Swaha Bhatta. Nishmaya means hearing. Deva means Yamaraj. Swa Bhatta means his own servant, Yamdutas. Upavarnityam, when they described what happened. Pratiyaha kim tanapi Dharmaraj, what Dharmaraj has done. Evam hatagyo vihatan murare. Evam hatta agyo viharan murare. So these are the Vishnu Duta. Nayadikshkai yasya vashe jano vayam. So King Parikshit said, oh my lord, Sukdev Goswami, Yamaraj is the controller of all living entities. This is the last line. Yamaraj is the control of all living entities in terms of their religious and irreligious activities. But his order have been foiled. When his servants, the Yamaduta, informed him of their defeat by the Vishnu Dutas, who had stopped them from arresting Ajamil, what did he reply? Srila Prabhupada writes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that although the statement of Yamaduta were fully upheld by Vedic principle because they spoke about the Vedic Dharma, the statement of Vishnu Duta were trumped because that was Bhagavad Dharma. This was confirmed by Yamaraj himself. But Chakravartipad here writes different. The 3rd chapter confirmed the statement of servant of Vishnu. Same thing, trumpet. Though through the mouth of Yamaraj, it was mentioned in the last chapter that the servant of the Yam told their master what had happened. This was the verse 21 of the last chapter. Yamaraj asked and they replied. Parikshit then asked about this. The servant of Yam were obstructed by the order of bearers of the Vishnu. Thus Yam's order was thwarted. So is this 21 or 31? 21. So Parikshit continue question. Yamasya devasya nadanda bhanga. Nobody has till now broke the order of Yamaraj. Kutaschana rishi shurta purva asit. I have not heard this, dear Sukdev Goswami. They never happened. Etan mune vichasati loka sanksham. So there is a doubt in this world about this. Nahi twadanya iti me vinishchitam. Except you, nobody can really clarify this doubt. O great sage, never before it been heard anywhere that an order from Yamaraj has been withheld. Therefore, I think that people will have doubt about this, that no one but you can eradicate. Since that is my firm conviction, kindly explain the reason of these events. Now, this is Chakravarti Pad, this has no purport, nobody has given purport. Now, the next is 10, 3 to 10. 8 verses, Yamduta question about Supreme Controller. Sri Shuka Vacha Bhagavata Purushai Rajan Yamayaha Pratihito Dhyamaha Patim Vigyapyamasho Yamam Sanyamani Patim. So Sanyamani is a name for the Yamraj's abode, Sanyam Puri. So it's called Sanyam Patni, means he is the master of Sanyamni. And generally Sanyamni means where there is a discipline is exerted or exercised. Sanyam Puri. Yamraj, the abode is called Yam Sanyam Puri. Sri Sukdev Goswami replied, my dear king, when the arch-carriers of the Yamraj were befouled and thwarted by the arch-carriers of Vishnu, they approached their master, the controller of Sanyam Puri, the master of sinful person, to tell him of this incident. Yamaduta Uchuhu Kati Santi Shastaro. How many controllers are there? Jiva Lokasya Vai Prabho Traividyamaha Kuvatta Karmaha Phalabhivyaktihi Hetavaha. Who will give actually judgment? Yamduta said, our dear Lord, how many controllers or rulers are there in this material world? How many causes are responsible for manifesting the various result of activities performed under 3 modes of material nature? So, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Yamaduta, the arch-carriers of Yamaraj, were so disappointed that they asked their master almost in great anger whether there are many masters other than him. Furthermore, because of Yamduta had been defeated and their master could not protect them, they were inclined to say that there was no need to serve such a master. If the servant cannot carry out the order of his master without being defeated, what is the use of serving such a powerless master? This is Chakravarti Pad's statement. Therefore, though we defeat all others in this world, they say, Yamduta said, we have suffered defeat from 4 persons with 4 arms. Now they are saying, after punishing them, you should do that. We will then bring Ajamil to hell. If we cannot do so, it means now you, Yamaraj, defeat those 4 persons, bring Ajamil here. If we cannot do so, we are servant of fire, a fig. After this, we can no longer serve you. thinking in this way internally, with choked syllables, they then challenged Yamraj. So they were saying, if you are not going to bring this Ajamil here and defeat those 4 persons, give them punishment, we are not going to serve you. Yadi isyu bahavo loke, if there are many controllers of this world, Shastaro danda dharina, and they give the punishment. Kasya syatam nava kasya, who will be punished and who will not be punished. Mrityaho cha mritam chaiva, who will go to hell and who will go to heaven. Either the pious people will be punished or the sinners will be escaped. So this is their argument. If in this universe there are many rulers and justices who disagree about the punishment and reward, their contradictory action will neutralize each other and no one will be punished or rewarded. Otherwise, if their contradictory acts fail to neutralize each other, everyone will have to be both punished and rewarded. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Somebody can read?
I can read from it.
Yes.
Because the Yamadutas had been unsuccessful in carrying out the order of Yamaraj, he doubted whether Yamaraj actually had the power to punish the sinful. Although they had gone to arrest Ajamil following Yamaraj's order, they found themselves unsuccessful because of the order of some higher authority. Therefore, they were unsure of whether there were many authorities or only one. If there were many authorities who gave different judgments which would be contradictory, the person might be wrongly punished or wrongly rewarded, or he might be neither punished nor rewarded. According to our experience in this material world, a person punished in one court may appeal to another. Thus the same man may be either punished or rewarded according to the different judgments. However, in the law of nature or the court of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there cannot be such contradictory judgments. The judges and their judgments must be perfect, free from contradictions. Actually, the position of Yamaraj was very awkward in the case of Ajamil, because the Yamadutas were right in attempting to arrest Ajamil, but the Vishnudutas had baffled them. Although Yamaraj, under these circumstances, was accused by both Vishnudutas and Yamadutas, he is perfect in administering justice because he is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he will explain what his real position is and how everyone is controlled by the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead.
Actually, when Yamaraj heard about Vishnu Dutas came there, he was dancing in his court with hands up. You are so fortunate, Yamduta, that you have a darshan of Vaishnavas. It's very difficult for Yamduta to ever have darshan of a great Vaishnava. So you are more fortunate that you have darshan of Vishnu Duta. So I am happy that you have got a great benefit by that. So though they were criticizing him, but he was still jubilant and happy. Chakravarti Pad writes, if there are many controllers, what is the problem? If Yamaraj says, what is the problem? There are 2 results for action: hell, mrityu, or heaven, amritam. Among all the rulers who desire to give these 2 results, which one will award these results? If there is disagreement, then no one will award result, since opposite result must be awarded. If somehow there is agreement, there will be no question of who award the result, but all will award results, since they are all in agreement. But then again there is a problem, since the award cannot be given many times. So this is the doubt. Yamduta continues. Kintu Shastra bahute syat, if there are many controllers, bahunam hi karminam, for those who perform their action, shastrivam upacharo hi yatha mandal vartinam. But there must be one rule at least. Yamaduta continued, since there are many different karmis or workers, there must be different judges or rulers to give them justice. But just as one central emperor controls different departmental rulers like a king, there must be one supreme controller to guide all the judges. It means there must be law and there must be one who is the final authority. Srila Prabhupada writes, in governmental management there may be departmental officials to give justice to different persons. But the law must be one. Number one, the law must be one. And that the central law must control everyone. The Yamdutas could not imagine that two judges would give two different verdicts in the same case. And therefore, they wanted to know who the central judge is. The Yamdutas were certain that Ajamil was a most sinful man. But although Yamraj wanted to punish him, the Vishnu Dutas excused him. This was a puzzling situation and Yamdutas wanted Yamraj to clarify. Let there be many rules for handling many people performing action. There is no fault in that. Among all the controller, their sense of being chief controller is metaphorical. For example, controlling power of the regional leader Mandal Vardinam is metaphorical since they do not have independence. But there is always king on the top of everybody. Verse 7. Atatvam eko bhutanam sheshavaranam adhishvara shasta dandharo nirnam subhashubha vichis vivechanam. We know only you are the controller. The supreme judge must be one, not many. It was our understanding that you are that supreme judge and that you have jurisdiction even over the demigods. Our impression was that you are the master of all living entities, the supreme authority who discriminate between the pious and impious activities of the human beings. Verse 8. Tasya te vihito dando na loke vartate adhuna chatobhi adabhutahi siddhai agyate viprambhita. But now we see that the punishment ordered under your authority is no longer effective, since your order has been transgressed by the four wonderful perfect person. Chaturabhi adbhutai siddhai. They were four, they were wonderful and they were perfect. The Yamaduta had been under the impression that Yamran was the only person in charge of the administering justice. They were fully confident that no one could counteract the judgment, but now, to their surprise, his order had been violated by the four wonderful persons from Siddhaloka. So verse number 9. Niyamanam twadeshat asmabhiyatanagram. Niyamanam, we are bringing him here. Twadeshat, by your order. Asmabhiyatanagram, here in a hell to give him punishment. Vyamocham patkinam, that sinful man was released from our noose. Chitwa pashan prahasyate, and our noses were actually cut down by them. We are bringing the most sinful Ajamil towards hellish planet, following your order. When those beautiful persons from Siddhaloka forcibly cut the knots of the ropes with which we were arresting him. Chakravarti Pad says, remarks that Yamaduta wanted to bring the Vishnu Duta before Yamaraj. If Yamaraj could then have punished the Vishnu Duta, the Yamaduta would have been satisfied. This verse explains how it happened. If you, the controller, can bring those 4 persons here and punish them, then our fire of grief will be extinguished. Last verse of Yamduta's question. Tam te veditum icchanto yadi no manyase kshamam narayana iti abhihite mahabhaiti ayodhruvam. As soon as the sinful Ajamil uttered the name Narayan, these 4 beautiful men immediately arrived and reassured him, saying, do not fear, do not fear. We wish to know about them from your lordship. If you think we are able to understand them, kindly describe who they are. The archangels of the Yamaraj, being very much aggrieved because of their defeat by the 4 Vishnu Dutas, wanted to bring them before Yamaraj and, if possible, punish them. Otherwise, they desired to commit suicide. Before punishing either course, however, they wanted to know about the Vishnu Duta from Yamaraj, who is also omniscient. They have gone back to the abode of their master. Vishnu Duta, they are gone back to the abode of their master. Who can bring them so I can punish them? Who will bring them that I can punish them? Yamaraj says. We want to know about them from you. You have great knowledge. Whose servants are they? Where do they reside? We will bring them here. If you think it beneficial, then tell us. Otherwise, we will die, not being able to tolerate defeat. Please tell me what they did, Yamaraj says, so I can understand who they were. They were very bold. They said to that sinful person, do not fear. How improper this is. So this is the Vishnu Duta's mood. Now this next section, 11 to 21, Yamaraj explained position of Supreme Controller, devotees and Bhagavad Dharma. I think this we can do. We started late yesterday, but I think, as everybody is saying, is the last day of weekend. So I think as per our timetable, we are before time. Am I right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So no problem. Anybody now we can have some little discussion if you want some question or comment. Otherwise, we'll continue from here onward. Yes, Prabhu.
As we were reading these verses, I was thinking, does this mean that Yamaraj really made a mistake and ordering Yamadutas to go and take Ajamil?
No. It's not mistake. It's not mistake. Because the main part is at the end he chanted Narayan. So the Yamaraj was not aware that he will chant Narayan at the end. The only problem with Yamaraj was that he never instructed Vishnu or the Yamadutas that never go near to the Vaishnava. That part Yamaraj was actually repenting that why I have not already instructed you about the Bhagavad Dharma.
but is it also not so that, I mean, Yamraj knew that Ajamil, even though at the end he chanted Narayan, even prior he had chanted Narayan so many times, right, inadvertently and so forth, and that didn't take, he didn't take that into account in his own decision then?
Yes, Prabhu, what you were saying, I think I was distracted by this, some phone rang. Yes, say again,
Should I
Prabhu.
repeat? Yeah, so I know obviously he chanted at his last moment Narayan, but he had also chanted many, many times before. He was chanting constantly Narayan, right? In relationship to his son, so that didn't get included in his record that Yamraj reviewed.
That Yamraj will tell also that we only know as much as say Supreme Lord wants us to know. So intricacies of the Bhagavad Dharma are very difficult to understand. So he was not aware about, exactly. He was chanting the name of Narayan, maybe his son. He was not aware of that deep meaning of the bhakti. He is one of the Mahajans, so we will hear his teaching now in upcoming verses after 30 onward as a Mahajan. So Yamaraj was not wrong in sending Yamduta to bring Ajamil because he was sinful. But he chanted the name of Narayan because he was chanting every day this name of his son. So it was his practice which saved him at the last moment from Yamduta. But from the devotional point of view, he already has done attainment for all his sins, and his bhakti has also started. So that is a different subject. It was never expected he will chant holy name at the last moment. Apparently he was sinful, there's no doubt. The Prabhupada writes, he was sinful, there's no doubt about that. And Yamdutas were also right according to the Vedic Dharma, but Bhagavad Dharma is so exalted, even Yamaraj says, we don't know. We don't know all the details of the Bhagavad Dharma. We 12 know as much as God wants us to know, but not everything. Anybody else has to say something?
Swamiji, this is Ajadas. So one question is that they said, the Yamduta said that the four residents of Satyaloka. So
Siddhaloka. I said the word is Siddhaloka.
Siddhaloka, yes, Siddhaloka.
Yeah.
So what is
They don't know. They don't know from they come. They don't know from where they came. They said they came maybe some perfected place because they were more powerful than us and than you.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Yes. So who are the four absents? By the way, no question or comment? So Yamaraj is open actually. He is ready to listen to his Yamduta's so much heavy arguments. So it means the leaders should be free from anger and ready to listen from his dependents, even if they say something which he may not like.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I
Yes.
have one question.
Yes.
Prabhu, we had this discussion how we should be compassionate when we see senior devotees or any devotee not behaving up to the mark. So we have to adopt a compassionate attitude towards that. But practically speaking, I see a great misuse of this mindset in our society. There are people who don't follow the principles, and then they are in positions of power and influence, and they misuse it, and they have an external facade of being good devotees, but internally they are doing all sorts of nonsense, really. So how to go about that?
Oh, Shakti Manta.
Yes, Prabhu.
Shakti Manta, there are, once I have a small clip. That clip says, if you find somebody at fault, first you think, do you have a authority to rectify that person? Number one. Number two, are you actually wanting his benefit, that he should improve? Number two. If you are not the authority and if you are not looking for the benefit of that person, you want to criticize him, then better go and tell to the authority who is above him, and tell him that I have no personal enmity with so and so person ABC, but I am part of the movement and I see these are something he is doing which is not good for the society and name of Prabhupada, and also not good for this person. So please, now my work is over. You are his immediate authority. You do as you like, and then you forget that. Because he's not under your jurisdiction, number one. And number two, you want to criticize him, then it's a Vaishnava Aparadha. If you want to help him improve, then it's good. Who has the authority? Say, father has authority over son. Who has authority over disciple? President has authority over dependent, devotees. So first we say, do we have authority? Number one. And number two, are we really want to benefit him or want to criticize him? You ask these two questions in your mind. And then you decide, I should not say anything to anybody except his authority, and tell him in confidence that this is what I observed. Maybe, I don't know, but you yourself examine everything and correct it, because it's not good for society, it's not good for this person. I have no personal enmity with this person. This is a safe method in which there is no Vaishnava Aparadha, and also you want to help him and you want to help the society.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, because we don't have any ill feeling towards such a person and we do want to help. But if the authority, they also don't do anything about it.
Then you just close your eyes. If it is the authority's responsibility, not your responsibility. If it is really going something very wrong, then you still again we tell his to somebody else. Then it is more or less like criticizing somebody, which will come back to us. After telling to the authority, you close your eyes and forget that, because otherwise those bad habits which you are finding in somebody will come in you, because if you focus on that, they will come in you. So you forget that topic after telling to the authority. Or if authority is not listening, then there's a more higher authority. If you have a guts and you have a courage, you go to the next higher authority and tell that this is something I have told already. Now no action is taken. It's not good for society. It's good enough for Prabhupada's name. Please do something if you like. I have nothing personal against that person. So you can take one more step further. Like against president, always there is a complaint to the GBC, to the regional secretary. There is always a system. But two things are important. We are not criticizing him, and number two, he is not under our control, so we cannot say anything to anybody or to him. If we,
Okay, Prabhu.
yeah, if
Thank
we
you.
make it public, this will become bad for the society. And bad for him also, that he will leave the movement. So his devotion will also be endangered. So better go to the first authority or second authority and explain what you've seen and ask them to observe this and please take a proper action. This is my advice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. It's a principle. We are not discussing persons. This is a principle. Anybody else has any question or comment, or just we close it here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Prabhu, what is the lesson we're supposed to learn when the Yamadutas are getting angry when they are getting defeated by Vishnudutas? Because normally, as a practicing devotee, we should learn how to be defeated by others also, to make us to feel humble. That is what I have learned from my seniors. So can you please explain?
Yeah. What is going on? Yamadutas, they become angry, they become upset because they were defeated by somebody they don't know who they were. But what you are saying is, if we are defeated by devotees, then we should be humble. But they were not knowing who they were. They were like a policeman, and they were supposed to arrest some criminal, and somebody came which they were not knowing and asked them to leave him. So they become upset. So why they become upset? Because they were not knowing who are they. Why they are stopping from their duty. So they were right in their own terms, because Yamaraj's order nobody can stop. So how somebody is stopping? I think this whole episode is just to know for ordinary people that there is a more supreme controller than Yamaraj. And number two, the holy name is most powerful, even higher than the Vedic religion. So here these are the two lessons. So there are the Vaishnavas are higher and more powerful than the rest, the Yamadutas. So Yamadutas, because they were actually, it's coming from the hell, so anger is not naturally their habit. They are by nature angry, because if they are not angry, how can they arrest the sinful people? So it is natural for them.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.